Emma never thought silence could hurt this much, until the day Charlie didn't come home. Every evening, like clockwork, she would hear the soft jingle of his collar before she even reached the door, his tail wagging so hard it felt like it could shake the whole hallway. But that night, the house was still, heavy, almost unfamiliar, and for the first time in years, she stood there waiting, and nothing came. Charlie wasn't just a dog, he was everything she had left. After her parents passed away, and her friends slowly drifted into their own lives, it was Charlie who stayed, who listened without judgment, who filled the empty spaces with warmth. He had been with her through every quiet morning and every lonely night, always close, always present, like a heartbeat she didn't have to think about. She searched everywhere, her voice cracking as she called his name down empty streets, through parks, and along the same path they walked every day. Strangers glanced at her with sympathy. Some stopped to help, but hours turned into days, and hope began to slip through her fingers like sand. Each night she returned home, her chest tighter than before, the silence growing louder, more unbearable. By the third day, Emma went to the police station, her hands trembling as she held Charlie's photo. Officer Daniel listened carefully, his expression serious but gentle. He promised they would look into it, though cases like this often faded into the background. Still, Emma clung to that promise, because it was all she had left. As she walked out of the station, she felt something shift inside her, a quiet fear she didn't want to name. What if Charlie wasn't coming back? What if the one soul who never left her was gone for good?
The days that followed blurred together, each one heavier than the last, as Emma moved through her routines like a shadow of herself. She kept Charlie's bowl filled, unable to accept the emptiness, and every small sound outside made her heart race, only to fall again when it wasn't him. Sleep became distant, replaced by long nights where memories replayed over and over, like a cruel reminder of what she had lost. Officer Daniel couldn't stop thinking about her. There was something in Emma's eyes that stayed with him. Not just sadness, but a kind of quiet desperation that felt deeper than words. He had seen many cases before. Lost pets, missing items, but this was different. This wasn't just about a dog, it was about the last piece of someone's world. He decided to look deeper, even when it wasn't required. He checked nearby cameras, spoke to people in the area, and slowly, a faint lead began to form. A neighbor mentioned seeing a van parked near Emma's street the night Charlie disappeared. Something that didn't belong. It wasn't much, but it was enough to keep going. Meanwhile, Emma returned to the station every day, her hope flickering but refusing to die completely. She brought updates, asked questions, and each time, Daniel reassured her, though he knew how fragile that hope had become. Still, he couldn't let it fade, not when it was the only thing keeping her standing. One evening, as Daniel reviewed footage again, he caught a glimpse of something, a shadow, a movement, and then a dog being pulled into that same van. His heart sank, but at the same time, something else rose, determination. Because now this wasn't just a search, it was a mission. The moment Daniel saw the footage clearly, everything changed. The grainy video showed a man stepping out of the van, moving quickly, almost casually, as if what he was doing meant nothing. But to Emma, it meant everything. To her, that single moment had taken away her world, and Daniel felt a weight settle on his chest as he realized the truth. He brought Emma in the next morning, unsure how much to tell her, but knowing she deserved honesty. As she watched the footage, her hands shook uncontrollably, her eyes fixed on the screen as if refusing to blink would somehow change what she was seeing. When the image of Charlie being taken appeared, she broke, not loudly, but in a quiet, devastating way that filled the entire room. Daniel promised her they would find him, not as an officer, but as a person who now understood what was at stake. The investigation intensified, tracking the van, connecting small clues that slowly pointed toward a network of illegal animal trafficking. It wasn't just Charlie. There were others. Countless animals taken, hidden, forgotten. Time became their enemy. Every hour mattered. Every delay felt like another chance slipping away. Emma waited, holding on to Daniel's words, though fear grew stronger with each passing day. What if they were too late? What if Charlie was already gone? Then finally, a breakthrough came. The van was traced to an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of the city. It was risky, uncertain, but it was their best chance. As the team prepared to move in, Daniel thought of Emma, of the way she held on to hope even when it hurt. And in that moment, he made a silent promise. No matter what it took, he would bring Charlie back. The warehouse stood cold and lifeless, its broken windows and rusted doors hiding what no one wanted to imagine. As Daniel and his team moved inside, the air felt heavy, filled with a quiet tension that made every step echo louder than it should. And then, they heard it. Faint sounds, soft whimpers, barely there, but enough to confirm their fears. What they found inside was heartbreaking. Cages lined the walls, filled with frightened animals, their eyes wide with fear, their bodies weak but still holding on. It was overwhelming, but Daniel pushed forward, searching, calling out softly, hoping for a response. And then, from the far corner, he heard it. A familiar bark, weak but unmistakable. His heart raced as he moved closer, and there he was. Charlie. Dirty, exhausted, but alive. For a moment, everything else faded, and Daniel felt a surge of relief so strong it almost brought him to his knees. Charlie recognized him instantly, his tail moving slowly, as if even that took effort. Daniel knelt down, his voice gentle as he reassured him, promising he was safe now. Around them, the team worked quickly, rescuing every animal, bringing light back into a place that had known only darkness. When Emma got the call, she couldn't speak at first. Tears filled her eyes as the words finally sank in. He was alive. She rushed to the station, her heart pounding, every second feeling like forever. And when she saw Charlie again, everything she had been holding inside broke free. She fell to her knees, holding him close, whispering his name over and over, as if saying it enough would make this moment real. But what happened next? No one expected. As Emma held Charlie, the room filled with quiet emotion. Officers stepping back, giving her space, understanding that this moment was more than just a reunion. It was healing. It was love finding its way back after being torn apart. Charlie rested his head against her, his eyes closing softly, as if he finally felt safe again. But then, something unexpected happened. One by one, the officers who had been part of the rescue began to step forward, not with words, but with something deeper. They shared what they had seen inside that warehouse, the suffering, the fear, and how Charlie's survival had become a symbol of hope for all of them. Daniel spoke last. His voice was steady, but his eyes said everything. He told Emma that saving Charlie had changed something in him, reminded him why he chose this job in the first place. And then, he revealed that the department had decided to launch a full investigation into the trafficking network, not just closing the case, but making sure no one else would go through this again. Emma listened, overwhelmed, not just by what they had done, but by how far they were willing to go. She realized then that this wasn't just about her loss anymore. It had become something bigger, something that would protect others, both human and animal. As she walked out of the station with Charlie by her side, the world felt different. The pain hadn't disappeared. but it had transformed into something else, something stronger. She wasn't alone anymore, not truly. Because sometimes when everything feels lost, people step in, not because they have to, but because they choose to care. And in those moments you realize, even in the darkest times, humanity still has a light that refuses to go out.